Before anything else, this morning I want to once again, as we did earlier this morning, just really indicate my sympathy for the people of Israel, for the situation that they're going through right now. My prayers go to all of those folks, and just pray for their health, for their well-being, and for a swift end to this war, and for a lasting peace to come out of it. We can always see the potential for good coming out of something even as evil as this obviously is. So this morning, we are going to talk about the news on Tesla. I've only got a few today. It'll be a little shorter than usual, as pretty much all the news right now goes around the whole Israeli dispute and what's going on there, and the response and reaction by Israel. But there is still news that I think you'll find valuable. In fact, the two of these stories I got today are among the most important stories I've seen in a while. I think you'll agree. So let's get into it. Of course, you can hit like and subscribe and notify. That would, of course, be perfectly fantastic. And join Patreon. You'll like it. All the news that I'm putting up now, yeah, you're going to. In fact, this particular piece of news I put up last night. And so you could have had it last night and already be making decisions as a result. So in an interview on CNBC, Young Soo Kwon of LC Energy Solution says that the world's #1 EV battery maker, okay, outside of China, is trying to become more cost competitive as it faces short-term price pressure from a supply glut of EV batteries. He says it is only to be expected that EV makers will be demanding lower prices, and EVs need to be priced lower to be competitive with ICE vehicles. He says they are also attempting to lower the cost of materials within the value chain by working with mining companies and making investments to ensure long-term price stability. He says they are also working to lower labor and production costs through what he calls a smart factory. He's also talking about a big switch to the LFP batteries, which caught them by surprise. They seem to have not realized that these would be accepted so quickly. He goes on to say that he's concerned about the changing supply sourcing for raw materials in order to comply with the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act, so-called. He says Indonesia, Morocco, and the U.S. are 3 places they're planning to use for future sourcing. Now, if a lot of what he's saying sounds really familiar, sounds like Elon Musk talk, I would say, yeah, it does sound like what Elon's been saying for a long time. So we know, of course, that Elon plays 4D chess, and he's been out there talking to the mines. He's been talking to the refineries. He's been talking all up and down the supply chain. He's been looking for ways to save on labor. He's been looking for ways to save by changing the form factor. He's been looking at all the different chemistries. I'm a little surprised that LG is not apparently as up on top of this as they should be, and that CATL is obviously handing them their lunch right now with regard to all of this. And again, maybe and CATL and both companies are actually looking at at setting up factories in the U.S. What you really should take away from this, a couple of things you should take away from this. Number one, he says, of course, the EV companies should be asking for and getting lower prices. And you can bet that Tesla, the biggest by far consumer of these batteries, is hammering these battery companies right now. I mean, the battery companies are probably really excited to find ways for Tesla to take more batteries, because they have a glut. And this is just one more confirmation of the glut. I mentioned in a video the other day that I saw reporting where the price of batteries is down 33%. So let's use that 33%. And let's say that Tesla was paying around $120, $25, $30, and now they're paying $90 a kilowatt, something like that. Or in other words, they're saving about $35 per kilowatt hour. Okay, on a 65 kilowatt hour battery, that would mean a $2,000 savings, a $2,000 savings per vehicle. It is possible that Tesla is even doing much better than that. In addition, on some of the batteries, they have the $10 from the IRA. On some, they have $45 from the IRA. So they have other issues that are also reducing the cost of the battery by a lot. All right, so let's say that on the Model 3, I think this is the long range, it's 48,000, maybe it's performance, I forget. Let's say it was $48,000 before the reduction that they did the other day. So the cost of goods sold at 88%, so or another, I'm sorry, at 82%. Oh, I'm afraid my other math might be wrong here. Okay, anyway. Oh boy. Okay, so I hope I did the math right. So let's say that the cost of, I know the first number is correct here. So the cost of goods on that would be $37,360 to build. So now if you drop the price to $44,720, in other words, they could have reduced the price to $44,720 and kept the margins the same, but no, they only reduced it to $46,000. So actually their margins could be increasing. Now, is anybody else telling you this? Not one other channel? No, of course not. So the reality is that you have over the course of the year, not last week, but over the course of the year, you have a $2,000 potential price decrease, and probably more than that, just in the cost of the battery. Okay. Then you have the IRA money. Then you have the ramp of the Model Y. Then you have more Model Ys being sold as a percentage of the overall sales. You have all these issues. I've talked to you about them many, many times before that are all impacting margins. So when you see these price reductions, they don't necessarily add up to any kind of a margin reduction on Tesla's part. Yes, it's a margin reduction if everything else is equal, but if all of these numbers are getting better for them, they can do this price reduction for multiple reasons, either to make sure they sell more in the fourth quarter. They could be doing it because they see some kind of an Osborne effect coming at the end of the fourth quarter because of the new Model 3, the new Model Y, the changes that they're making with regard to the changes in the IRA that are coming up in January. There's an awful lot of potential ways that people could be putting off this purchase going into 2024. And of course, Tesla will be thinking about that. They'd be seeing it on the ground. They'd be hearing it from their customer service people at the locations. They'd be seeing it on the website, all kinds of different ways. They'd be, okay, the fourth quarter, we can make a lot of cars, but we want to make sure we sell them all. And one way to do that, reduce the price. Then again, as Larry and I talked about this morning, maybe it's strategic. You've got General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis out on strike. They got all kinds of struggles with regard to the UAW and how things are going to come out of that whole deal. So why might not Tesla, if they think they can afford to do it, kind of put another little twist in that whole story and therefore make their cars even more competitive with regard to ICE vehicles and maybe start to wake up the Midwest a little bit to the reality that ICE is done and that people should be looking at electric cars. Does that mean that they shouldn't do any advertising? Well, that's a whole other story. And if you listen to Larry this morning, then you and I, know that he and I agree. Come on, let's start some advertising. All right. Let's see. Wait a minute. Okay, Nuevo Leon's economy Mr. Ivan Rivas said in an interview that Tesla is considering a bigger plant than originally envisioned, and it's still hammering out design, architecture, and engineering plans. The federal government, Mexican federal government, is on track to grant environmental approvals within weeks, he said, which will allow the electric vehicle maker to begin construction. He said, I'm expecting it in a matter of a couple of weeks, maximum a month. Now, we heard that before, but now a lot has happened since then. He goes on, Nuevo Leon has agreed to build an electric power substation, a natural gas pipeline, railroad spurs, roads, and services for water and sewage. This is according to a memo of understanding with Tesla seen by Reuters. Okay, so the other day, we had this scary headline, this panic headline. Oh my gosh, Tesla's just now asking Mexico to do all these different things, the Nuevo Leon and the city or the county, whoever, to make all these changes, make all these new decisions with regard to infrastructure. Oh, this is going to hold up the manufacturing at the beginning of putting the plant up for months and years. And I said, what? Did you watch my program the other day? I said, no, this is nonsense. This is already all in this is discussed in what? The memo of understanding. And of course it was. And now Reuters has seen that memo of understanding. And so they now understand what they should have understood before, which is this is not news. Okay. All right. You may have noticed that there was no. I'm sorry. I should finish up that conversation with regard to the construction in Mexico. So should be getting started here pretty quick. I feel a lot more confident now that maybe by November 1st or so they will be able to start turning some dirt down there. They're going to put this thing up fast, or let's put it this way. In my opinion, they're going to put up some kind of construction that they can begin manufacturing some kind of production of cars in Mexico, and they're going to put it up really fast. Mexico has been in the way. Maybe they've been in their own way. Who knows? Lots of potential on both sides, but this is going to happen quickly, and we are all going to be surprised how soon they're going to be making cars down there. All right. You probably have noticed, if you watch this channel a lot, that there was no handover event on Friday. So according to me, that means October's out. You're not going to do this on Monday the 9th or Tuesday the 10th and only give people less than 3 weeks to make their arrangements. So not going to happen this month. So now a lot of people are saying before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's on November 23rd. So maybe the handover event is going to be around the 16th. That would be my new date. So I would say maybe the invitation should go up by this Friday or the following Friday at the very latest. Okay. That's assuming it goes on a Friday. I'm just saying that would be the time period. Now, of course, you're going to want to go back. I'm sorry. One last thing. There's a lot of Cybertruck gigacastings piling up in the yard in Austin, according to Tegmeyer. And this is a very, very good sign. Okay. You're going to want to go back and hear Larry Goldberg and I talk about the absolutely phenomenal and brilliant analysis by Kathy Wood from last night. Maybe you're going to want to go back and listen to the entire hour of what Kathy Wood had to say last night yourself. But even if you watch that, you definitely want to hear what Larry has added to that conversation. Maybe I had an idea or two also. And we did spend a few minutes at the beginning talking about Israel. Larry has family there, so please pray for his family and for Israel, as I said at the beginning. And there is the card for that conversation with Larry. Coming up tomorrow morning will be another Larry Goldberg discussion where he talks about his take on the Isaacson Musk bio. And I think you'll find it's a completely different take than any other take you've heard yet. Very valuable. I think you'll really enjoy it. And that'll be out tomorrow morning early. And then, of course, in the afternoon, we will have the show called Monday Morning, where we talk about all the different things that are going to happen next week. PPI, the CPI. Oh, yeah. And the beginning of banks reporting earnings. Big week coming up. So believe this or not, I had 3 orders yesterday for 10 Cybertruck bottle openers. 3 for 10 each in one day. See, people are beginning to get it. This is such an amazing gift. It is priced right. Maybe you belong to a Rotary or you belong to some kind of a business referral group, or maybe you go to church, or you've got another group that you belong to some kind of group. I mean, usually the gifts, if there's gifts given at Christmas, or even gifts given as some kind of part of the program, they're usually around $25. You've got friends, you've got neighbors, you've got people that that love Tesla and that are looking forward to the Cybertruck thing. You've got people that would just be amused by it. They would just think it was fun and funny. Phenomenal gift. And if you get 10 or more, the price is only $22.50. If you buy under 10, the price is still $25, unless you want to go buy it on Amazon. And a lot of people are at $29.95. So send me down on PayPal, send your $25 or times however many you want to paypal.me/Randy Kirk, all in lowercase letters. Or you could get one for free if you join on Patreon for the $10 level. Let me just take one more minute to talk about Patreon again. I am putting up, I thought I mean, I'm getting a lot of signups on Patreon right now, but not as many as I thought I would get. I'm being straight. Okay. I thought I'd get a lot more. I think getting the news quickly is useful. And then getting news and commentary quickly would be even more useful. And only getting that news, which is really important, 3 times a day, roughly, I would think that might be worth $5 a month. I don't know, maybe not. But I thought maybe especially this group who seems to really, really like Tesla news and really, really like news that is going to impact Tesla, that this would be the very group. Now, I don't want anybody that can't afford $5 a month to even think about it. Okay. But if you can afford $5 a month, or if you can afford 10 and you want a Cybertruck for free, join Patreon. All the information is down below. All you got to do is click on that little Patreon thing, and it'll take you right to Patreon, and you can sign up, and we can go from there. And of course, you'll be supporting the channel, and the channel needs support. We need to make money here. This is a business. It's fun, but it's a business. All right, that's it for now. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and it's been great talking to you.